sure you've assessed by now that because you're at the scrapyard, that means that you'll be harvesting the steel that you need to make signature blades in your signature style from the scrap around you. And you'll also be using these coal forges. Additionally, you must include a hidden tang design in your blade shape. Good luck. Your 4 hour starts now.
The hardest part about choosing some sort of recyclable material is you want to make sure it's good quality steel that can be hardened.
Let's do this. Todd's coming back with a pretty wide piece of steel right there. I have no idea what that is.
It's a mower blade.
Oh, yeah, that's a huge brush hog blade.
Yeah, that's a great choice. More than likely 5160 also.
Picking a metal is going to represent a little bit of a challenge because some of the steel could have had a really rough history, which could include microfractures. You don't see these things, but they can reveal themselves whenever you do the heat treat.
Michael's got a pry bar.
Is that going to be a high carbon content?
It depends. We've had some that were really good. We've had some that were sketchy. I like watching the different smiths. Some of them are cranking like maniacs. You got Jack over here who's going nice and slow and steady. That's one of the things about coal. You spend almost as time maintaining your fire as you do working on your steel. I'm gonna be blowing by now.
I'm having a little trouble. I'm not able to get the airflow right.
Either doesn't have his air vent opened up at the base.
What the heck?
He's not getting air through that.
Come on. Stay up. Air leakage, the bottom. This is the ultimate test. Is to see what you can do under pressure against whatever odds are thrown to you. I'm a little nervous.
Funny watching Leland. Looks like you don't have a care in the world. Like, okay, this is a Saturday afternoon in the backyard.
The simple device I use to maintain a consistent thickness, I call it a kiss block. The kiss block limits the downward travel of the hammer against the hot and pliable stock.
That way he's not going to have issues with deep hammer marks later on.
At this point, I'm having to do many more heats than I normally do to get the tang stretched out. Now it's too long, so I cut it off. Disastrous. Drew it out some more.
So it looks like Jack's going back after that tang.
Spent over an hour hammering on that.
Yeah, he's a tangaholic.
He's a tangaholic.
I'm about to quench. Trying to get my blade to about 1450 degrees. I'm concerned about warping my blade.
Bladesmiths, you have just 30 minutes remaining to finish your work. Yeah.
Getting tired. And there's a part of it that's a little soft. I know I need a second quench, and I know that I don't have enough time to be able to heat this blade totally up again. So I'm just gonna do an edge quench. This has to work. It's a go or no go right now.
So to make myself stand out in this challenge, I am gonna pull a lot of little tricks. So I go off to the scrap piles, and I find a couple pieces of angle iron, and I stack them down the middle of my forge.
Michael's actually made himself a heating chamber. So instead of sliding back and forth and playing with it, he'll have 360 degrees of heat around that blade. He puts that in there, gets it nice and even for a quench.
Now I've got the form that I'm gonna be using. It's time to harden it. And guess what? My fire's gone out. Is it stressful seeing the coal completely out? No.
Leland's struggling to get a fire going here.
At this point, it's real difficult not to panic, but since I tested the steel, I am sure it's gonna work in the heat treat.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bladesmiths, shut down your machines and drop your tools. This round is over. We will be reconvening back at our forge where the judges will evaluate your work.
All right, bladesmiths, welcome to our forge. Now that your blades have been forged, it's time for the judges to take a look at your work. Jack, you're up first. Please present your blade to the judges.
Overall, your blade is solid looking. The tang is slightly off from the blade, but it's got that sax look to it.
You were moving steel pretty good, but most of it was back here. I saw you draw out that tang. You shortened it up twice, didn't you?
Yes.
It's still pretty thick.
Michael, you're up. Please present your work to the judges.
Well, Michael, you got the proportions on this very nice. Definitely like to see you thin this out some, make it a little bit lighter, but overall nicely done.
Well, you forged this beautifully. You did a lot of finish work with your forging. It was good watching your work. Thank you.
Todd, you're up.
Well, Todd, for the test, we're doing bone chops. It's good to see a spine that can back that up. Good job, sir.
Thank you.
It's good work. Your blade's very sharp, and I think of all of our blades, you have the most defined actual edge on yours.
Thank you.
Leland.
What I'm seeing is there's a little bit of a warp, and it doesn't just warp, but twists a little bit.
You got a nice thick tang to work with. I got one question for you, though. Why is the spine and the edge the same thickness?
I presumed I would address that with later grinding.
Okay.
Bladesmiths. As a group, these are the best blades we've ever had come out of a round one where coal forges were used. The judges' deliberation is complete, and they've made a final decision. The bladesmith who's leaving the forge is Leland. Your blade did not make the cut.
You know, Leland, it was a pleasure watching you work. Your control of the steel and the fire was amazing to watch. But during your quench, you developed a warp in your blade, and the fact that when I file checked it, there's a soft spot in the center that didn't harden properly. And those are the reasons we're sending you home.
Leland, please surrender your blade.
I feel disappointed. I should have been more careful about my heat treating, but I'm elated at having been here. Has my love of blade making increased because of this? Absolutely. I'm not moving on, but I feel like I'm moving forward, and I'll take that.
Todd, Michael, congratulations. You've made it into the final round of this competition, which means that you're both one step closer to the title of Forged and Fire champion and that check for $10,000. Now we're sending you back to your home forges to recreate an iconic weapon from history. That weapon is the Kampilan. Good luck. We'll see you in 5 days.
It feels really good to be home and back in my home forge. The Campilan is completely new to me. Part of this is a historical recreation, so it's really important I make it historically accurate. All right, here's my new sword. That's good. I'm really nervous because it doesn't take much for this to get messed up. I feel I can do it, but I just have to stay on task. Looks pretty good. My goal today was to have a profiled sword. That happened, and now I'm a little further ahead than I anticipated. I'm beat.
Yesterday, I had to upsize the motor on the power hammer.
Okay.
And forged out my piece.
There you go. That looks like the picture.
Today, I want to make sure I get that thing all tapered, narrowed down. Getting the weight off the blade and trying to thin that down was a task in itself. I hope I have it thin enough for Doug. Hopefully it'll satisfy him. It's getting a lot lighter. Ready for heat treating. Quenching's a real critical thing. You don't want to hear that little tink, you know, that crack sound.
Oh, Chris looks good.
No cracks, no warps.
Hey, yes.
I'm very happy with it.
Lord, thank you, Lord.
Today, I'm gonna cut the spur out of the tip of the blade. All right, here we go. There's a lot of bad things that can happen here. Taking a chisel to any part of your blade can result in unfixable blemishes. I'll take it. Time for the heat treat. Heat treat's the worst part of any blade making process, so I'm incredibly nervous. Warping is the #1 concern I have. When I dunk the blade into that oil, it's gonna do what it's gonna do, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. My gut wrenches. Warp. Sucks. The thinner the steel, the more tricky it can be to get the heat treat to go off without any issues. But as I look at it, I like it. Took kind of a scimitar warp, adds character. It doesn't go side to side, it bows up, kind of like a katana. That is the best warp you can possibly take on. I will take it.
Today, I think the plan is probably eating sawdust. Gonna work on that handle. The way it's designed is a little unusual. The handle has that protruding Y that comes up towards your arm. It looks like it would be uncomfortable to yield, but it's their blade. I'm just making it. Mark up the front guard and cut that one out. I'm gonna do the top guard as one piece and fit it to the handle. It does kind of look like a raptor, kind of. It's not what I was going for, but that's what it turned out to be. It's a dinosaur. I'm a little apprehensive on testing. If something crucially goes wrong, I won't have a blade to turn in, so I'm gonna leave this to the judges to test. Very nice. It looks good. It's a done deal.
This is my last day. I feel pretty good. Just need to grind the tank, fit it to the handle, and just make stuff pretty and sharp. The handle material is a big block of mahogany. Mahogany is a traditional wood. It's tough, it's rot resistant, so I don't have too many concerns about going into this. Getting this handle put on, and that is the point of no return. My only reservations with this blade are that it's hefty, but a lot of my research pointed to the fact that this is a heavy sword. For the royal flair of this sword, genuine human hair. That is something that was on these handles, so it's merely for historical accuracy. And it's funny. Well, it's a Kampilan.
All right, gentlemen, to test the sharpness of your blades, I'll be chopping through our cat's cradle of rope here. Now, Todd, you're up first. You ready?
I am.
All right, Todd, this blade has all the weight right here. You know, it's a weapon that's designed to be used one or two-handed, but controlling all that forward weight definitely puts this as a two-hand only sword. It's a good-looking piece, and it definitely is a cutter. Michael, you're up. You ready?
Let's do it.
Still a very heavy weapon. I would have zero confidence swinging this one-handed that it wouldn't get away from me. But the weight distribution on your blade is further back, which gave me quite a bit more control to chop those ropes. It's definitely a cutter, so good job. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Bladesmiths, this is the kill test. I'm gonna take your Campilan and deliver lethal blows on this big carcass. Todd, you're up first. You ready?
I sure am.
All right, Todd, the swing over here, almost cut all the way. And of course, with an easy swing on the way back, it cut the pig in half. The Campilan will kill.
Thank you.
All right, Michael, your turn. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, Mike. So even though it is a heavier blade, its counterbalance allows it to wield going forward and backward easily. So it was an easy recovery for the final chop. Overall, your Campilan will kill.
Thank you.
Good job.
All right, gentlemen, to test the strength and durability of your blade, I'll be chopping into this green bamboo.
Bamboo, it's hard stuff. If you didn't harden your blade right, there's a flaw in it. This will tell it. I am praying that my edge holds up.
Whoa. Yeah, I don't feel any damage whatsoever on the edge. It did a job on that bamboo and it's clean. Well done.
Thank you.
Michael, you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, I thought I saw something, but it was just bamboo stuck to your blade. It's fine. There's no damage there. Your blade hasn't changed shape at all. Good job, well done.
All right, bladesmiths, from the moment you guys lit those coal forges until this moment, you've put in a lot of hard work. There's been a lot of stress. But in this arena of competition, there can only be one Forged and Fired champion, and that champion is Michael. Congratulations, you are the Forged and Fired champion. Todd, unfortunately, your blade did not make the cut.
Todd, this is what we judges expect in the third round. Two beautiful blades, equally matched, but it comes down to the finer details. Your blade isn't as well balanced as that of your opponent's, and your design and detail were not as strong. So for those reasons, we have to let you go.
Understand.
Be proud of your work, Todd, because it was a close call. But please surrender your weapon.
I never thought about making it this far. This is the first sword I've ever made. I'm proud of what I did, and it held up good. I didn't think that I would be capable of doing this. And you never know what kind of strength you can find.
Michael, congratulations. You are the Forged and Fired champion, and that's a title that comes with a check for $10,000. Good job, brother. All right, what's going on inside of there?
It is surreal. Wasn't expected starting this competition, but huge affirmation of my skills.
Please present your weapon to the judges.
It's surreal. It hasn't really set in yet. All the years that I've put into this hobby, this craft, and now to be here and be the Forged and Fired champion, it's pretty amazing.
All right, gentlemen, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Today, you'll be making signature blades in your signature style from this. 1971 Mercury Cougar.
This thing's rusted out piece of junk. I'm really worried about making a quality blade out of this.
Good luck, bladesmiths. Your 3 hours starts now.
Who's the first to check the air in the tires? That's about how much I know about cars.
Which metal would you go for, Jay?
With leaf spring, it's good 5160 spring steel. It's thick, it's almost in a bar stock form already.
You know that with a car, it's either springs or axles. In a car that old, both of them are probably shot. Screw it, leaf springs. We break up the groups of two.
So it looks like Josh and Gabe are working together to free up those leaf springs.
I do not use a lot of recycled steel. I like to use new steel so that I know that there's not going to be any issues. My design for the blade is a fighter Bowie hybrid chef's knife. My friends and family think my bladesmithing career is great, but my niece makes fun of me, says I'm too cheap to just buy a knife, so.
I've got a rough profile, so I'm going to the grinder because I've got to get a good edge profile on my blade.
I'm enjoying watching Randall. He hammered that blade down very thin, very, very good hammer work. He's actually putting a hollow grind in, which is a nice change of pace.
I'm not crazy about how he's doing it, but I'm glad he's doing it.
Why?
Well, I see these large sweeping motions as opposed to slowing down, being precise, so you can actually see what the grinder's doing to the surface.
Usually, I grind very slowly, but in this contest, I can't really do that. I've just got to try to hog away as much metal as I can and hope that I don't make a mistake. The grinder is much more powerful than my own grinder, and I cut way too deep.
Oh, no.
My blade is now uneven, so that means I'm gonna have to cut off a lot of the shape of my knife just to get it even. So I'm going to be grinding some more, and some more, and some more, and I'm losing time.
Randall's gone to a flat flatten.
He's trying to fix the unevenness of that blade.
It's getting thinner and thinner. And
Yeah.
2 hours has elapsed. You have just 60 minutes remaining to finish your blades.
Thank you.
Dave's been on the grinder for a second, and his blade's really starting to take on a shape.
I can feel myself getting a little frustrated because the grind is not going as quickly as I would like. So I have to get a little more aggressive with the belts, even though I don't want to.
Uh-oh.
Dave, you all right?
Giving you the stink eye.
I have a resting bitch face, but I'm really not unpleasant.
What is with that weird hump on the back of that blade?
Josh ground a lot of shape into it. I just don't understand having an extreme sweep and a stabbing test.
Okay. I have 40 minutes left to play with this. I'm happy as a pig in a blanket. God, did I just actually say pig in a blanket? I'm pretty sure I just did. Oh, listen to that. Yes, yes, okay. I have a hardened blade.
I file test my blade several times because I'm paranoid about it being hard.
Oh, I like it, man.
It's not as scimitar-y as yours is.
And Randall does not look happy. His blade has gotten very, very thin.
I really don't like the shape of the blade. The edge geometry is a little off because of my grinding mistakes.
I'd like to see him quenched before there's not much of that blade left.
I'm always the most nervous getting ready for the quench.
Randall, man, I just don't know what he's shaking his head about at this point.
Well, he's thermal cycling the blade, obviously. He's just not happy with those grinds.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bladesmith, shut down your machines, drop your tools. This round is over.
Well, that sucks.
It'll be fun, they said.
All right, judges, is there a bladesmith whose work in the first round puts him automatically into that second round?
Yeah.
Which one was that, do you think?
That would be Gabe's.
All right, let's move on to Dave.
As far as the forging goes, I think he did the minimum, and that tip is so rounded. It's not shaped for stabbing.
This doesn't even have bevels ground in. There's easily 1/8 of an inch, if not more here, that hasn't even been touched yet. So there's several issues.
All right, let's move on to Josh's blade.
This particular weapon is made to slash sideways or diagonally. It's not meant for stabbing. The spine is not in line with the force behind it, so that could be an issue. There is a warp here, significant enough to see it not even go flat on the table.
I really just want to hear what they're saying.
Let's move on to our last bladesmith, Randall.
This one kills me. It looked like a classic sax when he forged this out. Once he got on the grinder, it went from being a sax to being disappointing.
His plunge grinds are way off. And then the other big issue is his edge. It's thinner here than it is up here.
Yeah.
And I really don't think there's enough meat left to be able to fix that problem. It's too thin.
All right, judges. Doug, have you made your final decision?
Yes, I have.
Dave?
Yeah.
Jay?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go tell our smiths. Bladesmiths, the judges have completed their deliberation, and it's time for one of you to leave the forge. Randall, your blade did not make the cut.
Randall, Your forging skills impressed all of us up here. You pretty much forged your blade into shape. But when you got to the grinder, it cost you so much material. And with grinders, there's no going back. Your edge is uneven, and the only way to fix that is by grinding even more. And there's just not enough material here to do that. And for that reason, we're letting you go.
Randall, please surrender your blade.
I kind of knew this was coming. The mistakes I made during the challenge threw me to the bottom of the heap. It's a little disappointing, but gave it my best shot. Probably my best advice to the other bladesmiths, try to avoid making mistakes.
Dave, Gabe, congratulations. You've made it into the final round of this competition. Now we're sending you back to your home forest to recreate an iconic weapon from history. The Yatagan. Good luck, bladesmiths. We'll see you in 5 days.
Good luck.
I've been assigned to make a Yatagan. I don't know how to spell Yatagan, but here I am making one. I've never made a blade this long, and I've never made one that requires such an ornate handle. So I'm nervous. This is gonna have to chop through a pig, a thigh bone, maybe try to cut through Will's biceps, I don't know. I'm gonna make it to cut. I think I've got the curve right. I think I'm sitting pretty. Gabe, my competitor, is a very competent smith, so hopefully I'll have a blade that will stand up and equal or surpass his.
It's very important to get the rough shape today. If I do not get the rough shape knocked out today, then that'll throw the rest of the 4 days way behind. I don't have a power hammer or a forging press, so I have a lot of work ahead. This is my power hammer right here. I think I'm the underdog. Dave's got the upper hand. He's been doing it for a lot longer. It's his to lose, I think, and I hope I'm gonna come in there and sneak and take it from him. I really like the shape. Dave, you're going down, buddy.
Today, the plan is to make my mokame billet for the bolsters and the ornamentation that goes on the side of the blade. Mokame technique in Japanese means wood grain metal. It's laminated nickel, silver, and copper. And I'm squeezing them together under high heat, and they should bind to create an interesting pattern in the steel. All right, that's for later. It's quite time-consuming, but I think the end product will be worth it, assuming it takes. It's hot. Now, I see if I've got a viable billet. Yes. Not molten, also a good sign. This better be worth it.
One thing I'm concentrating on the most today is making sure everything is symmetrical and getting ready for heat treat. Feeling a little nervous. You have some things out of whack, and it'll pull. That's one way you can cause warps. But I'm praying and hoping that's not an issue. She has developed. I have a nice warp. I don't have time to make another blade. I have to fix this warp, or I have no shot at winning. I'm gonna clamp the blade in a position so that the warp is overcorrected, and hopefully it'll fix itself in the temper. Otherwise, I have no idea what I'm gonna do.
The mokame came out great. It was worth it. And yesterday, I quenched the blade, and it came out straight and hard. Today, I'll start working on the ebony handle. So that to that. I chose ebony because it's really pretty wood. The material's a little brittle, but I think it should be just fine. I'm not really sure if I got this thing fitted properly. I'm gonna hope for the best right now. Success. I would like the test to be on a banana, a nice soft banana. But I suspect it's gonna be a giraffe or a fire hydrant or a cuckoo clock. I don't know what they're gonna come up with. I hope it does well.
I fixed the warp as best as I possibly could. Goal for today is to be dialed in on the handle. I'm going with this marble wood. It's already square. It's got some width so that I can sculpt in the ears. We are all together. This sword I have dubbed Dumbo because it looks like an elephant. Everything's come together to something I'm proud of. Let's go whack something, shall we? It's pretty clean cut. Call that a day.
Bladesmiths, To see what kind of lethal damage your weapon will do, I'll take your Yatagan and deliver slashes and thrusts on this ballistics dummy. Dave, you're first. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's do this.
I'm so nervous right now, and I'm just hoping my blade will perform well.
It's got bowels dropping out everywhere.
Let's talk about your weapon, Dave. It follows the feel of a Yatagan that's supposed to be light and deadly. The edge you have here is sharp, where it's curved in to lacerate. Your Yatagan will kill.
Thank you very much.
All right, Gabe, your turn. You ready?
Go nuts, man.
Let's do this.
Dave's blade performed seemingly really well. Guts falling out of the thing and blood everywhere, so a little nerve-wracking knowing they'll have to at least measure up to that.
All right, Gabe, it is so light, it really feels like it's not there. It's almost scary. When I thrust, it penetrates easily and slashes down. Overall, sir, your blade will kill.
Thank you.
I think we cut quite similarly. I would prefer to be ahead, but right now I feel like we're neck and neck.
All right, gentlemen, this is the strength test. To test the strength of your weapon, I'll be chopping into these bones 6 times. Dave, you're up first.
Hacking bone is a very difficult thing to do with a thin edge. I'm aghast knowing what's going to be coming.
All right, David, that's a tough test. Those are very thick bones, but what we've got going on here is a lot of chipping and distortion on your blade. We've also got a major crack in your handle that runs right up through the pins. All right, Gabe, your turn. You ready for this?
Go nuts.
Okay, Gabe, the convex edge you've got on here is pretty much the perfect edge for a test like this. Sharp and strong. I can feel just the smallest amount of a roll. Nicely done.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, next up, the sharpness test. For that, I'll give it to Doug.
I have edge damage, I have handle damage. It's disheartening, but it's not over yet.
Bladesmiths, to see if your blade is still sharp, I will take your weapon and slash through these silks. If your blade is still sharp, it should cut cleanly. If not, it may rip or tear, or worse, do nothing. Dave, you're up first. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's do this. All right, I love the balance of your blade. I like the way it curves in, but you can really feel the edges now. It's serrated. It hangs up with silk, but then on the last piece, just when it's nice and taut, you can lacerate and cut through it. Overall, your blade will still cut.
Thank you.
All right, Gabe, it's your turn. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do this. All right, Gabe, your blade is so light, you're barely like cutting through air. I glided through this, lacerated, and of course in the finishing cuts here, cut easily through that silk. It cuts. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Bladesmiths, you both created remarkable finale weapons, but in this arena of competition, there can only be one Forged in Fire champion. And that champion is... Gabe, congratulations. you are the Forged in Fire champion. Dave, your weapon did not make the cut.
Dave, you brought us an outstanding weapon. That Yatagan is fantastic. But during the strength test, we lost structural integrity in the edge of your blade and in the handle with both scales fracturing. And those are things we obviously can't overlook, so that's why we're gonna let you go.
Sure.
Dave, please surrender your weapon.
It's exactly what I expected. It was very difficult testing, but I'm still the guy with the cracked edge and the broken handle. It's like going out with a beautiful blonde and finding out she has BO, and my blade has BO.
Gabe, congratulations. You are the Forged in Fire champion and will be receiving a check for $10,000. Good job. I've never seen anybody less stoked about getting 10 grand in my entire life. Why don't you please present that weapon to the judges?
Feels great to be the Forged in Fire champion, but I'll do my celebrating behind closed doors. I felt like I was the underdog, but underdogs win sometimes, I guess.